Hello everyone, my name is Alan, I'm from Sauber-Lab, and today I will show how to install Home Assistant and go through the basics of this installation. Why I go to show how to install this Home Assistant? Because at the moment the house starts to be more and more smart and you can start to integrate your device. You can set up to start one light when you want. I will give one example. That light behind me. If I press a button, they're off. If I press another button, it's on. But I don't need to have only set up as a button push. I can set up some functions for it. I can tell that when I go to record or some period of time, they will start that light automatically or they will turn off that light automatically. The same thing I can define for the TV or for any device that I want. I can want to control the temperature for the house. I want to control if no one is in the house for 3 hours, they will turn off all the light, do not heat the house, or they will do something specific, some function or some steps that you want. Yes, you can define everything, and the application is Home Assistant. And this application can integrate a lot of other devices and a lot of functionality that you can have in only one place. If you like this idea and want to learn more about it, don't forget to leave your like, subscribe for the channel, and let's see how to do it. Before we start to do any installation, I will explain the basics. First, our installation will be done in a Raspberry Pi. Why? Because this device is powerful enough to run Home Assistant. They are quite small and they are really handy, and they will be dedicated only for this one. I could install it in a Docker container. Yes, I can install in a Docker container, but it would not be the top for this day. I wanted to have everything easy in one place and dedicate only for this automatization, because I want to be on 24/7 to monitor my data, to do all my scripts and all my scenes and everything that I want in only one place. If I can do it and Raspberry Pi is quite cheap, why not? Other thing that you're gonna need, it's a SD card. This case, it's a 32GB SD card. It's not the best SD card that you can buy. I suggest you to get a class 10 SD card, run smoothly and fast, because this one will affect your performance and your experience of Home Assistant. Other thing that you need to consider is the power supply. It's really important, the power supply. Why? You're gonna run 20 hours per day, 7 days a week, 4 weeks a month, 12 months a year, and you understand my idea, will be all time connect. And if they run with low tension, you deteriorate the life of the Raspberry Pi. As well, you can corrupt the data and everything. So it's better to invest a little bit better for a power supply that handles all the power. In this case, this power supply, it's dimensioned for Raspberry Pi, so I will not have any issue with it. Other thing really important that you should have, it's a network cable, RJ45. Why? Because you're gonna connect this one to your Raspberry Pi and leave on. You could run in Wi-Fi. I don't know, I never try it, and I don't suggest you to do it, because the Wi-Fi is already not so stable. Another thing, this one will manage your other device. So if you want to manage all your device and they are not stable, so you start to go in trouble for it. Okay, have all these ones in mind. Now we're gonna go for the basics of the installation. First thing that we're gonna do, we're gonna open the Home Assistant webpage, and here you can go for Get Started and View Demo, but we'll not go through this one. As well, you can have the integrations. Later on, we're gonna go to the integration. As well, you can have some blogs and some information that you can look on it. You always have to click in the blogs and have a lot of people talking about this, and that's it. It will help you quite a lot to find your answers. We go to the page, and here they say that they work for over 1,000 devices. Great. They have a powerful automation. It means that you can set to turn on, turn off, alert, depending on the condition that you want. It means that you can have Alexa, and that Alexa will turn on your light when you request. Or you can have a Google, and that they will turn on your light when you request, or to shut down your TV. And you can make a system that everything integrates well. As well, you can have some add-ons that you can install. as AdGuard or Pi-hole and others ads that you can use to integrate your system and have a better experience. It's compatible for mobile. It means that you can open the Home Assistant on your phone and see what's the status. As well, you can have a home energy management where you can manage your consume of energy. You can buy some extra sensors that you can connect for your home energy, and that you can monitor what's the usage, what time that's used more, what time that's used less, and if you turn off all the device, what device is using more or what room it's using. If you can cut the unnecessary cost, will be great. Okay, go on. Have a lot of people that it's working on it, so it's interesting that we'll have others websites and others people that will talk about the same subject. In the integration, you can see a lot of different providers that can have integration with this Home Assistant. As Google Assistant, you can have a Google Cast, IKEA, Plex, Zigbee, Z-Wave, Sonos, SmartThings. It means that you can integrate with a lot of different devices. And here you can go to the list of all. You can come in the belt and you can integrate with Ring, you can integrate with Nest. If you go for energy, you can integrate with different supports of energy. This integration, it's the standard one. Of course, you can integrate with other ones, but then will be a little bit different steps. But you can integrate with a lot of devices, and all the time they are adding more devices for integration. To do the installation, we're gonna install in the Raspberry Pi. So we come here and look for the Raspberry Pi installation. Here in the installation, one thing that they advise, and I told Red, it's about use appropriate power supply for your Raspberry Pi, because this one will affect a lot of the life of your Raspberry Pi. So look on it. If we go down, here they suggest the hard drive that you can use. They say about the Raspberry Pi 4, but as well you can use a Raspberry Pi 3. They will work a little bit slow, but they will work, no problem at all. They say about the power supplies that you can use, the ideal case, the micro SD that you can use. If you go down, they say that how you're gonna install. To do the installation, they suggest use the Banana Etch, and you etch directly in the SD card. And inside the SD card, you can run one of these scripts. You can use some of this URL to do the installation. In my case, I will install in Raspberry Pi 4, so I will run this script and I will open my Banana Etch. Have already the SD card in the computer and Banana Etch open. I will come here in the flash for URL. I paste this URL that I copy from the website for Home Assistant, and okay. They'll take some seconds until they locate the image and do a pre-download. So let's wait. Have this one done. They say that you need to select the target. So I will select my SD card that I already put in my computer, and I can come here and put flash. Once that's finished to flash the image and have been successful, we can remove our SD card and insert in our Raspberry Pi. And now we can put this Raspberry Pi and start the configuration from the Home Assistant. First time to open your Home Assistant, you're gonna open the URL Home Assistant 2.8123. Once that you click this one, the first time that you're gonna open your Home Assistant, they will show the follow screen. Prepare Home Assistant. This can take up to 20 minutes. Let's wait the Home Assistant start. But before we start the Home Assistant and start configuration, let's go to the entities, how it's work. First things that all the device and everything that you're gonna have in your house, you have some kind of templates that you're gonna use. All time they will be set as a domain, room, entity, and position. Domain will be the type of this entity. If it's a switch, they will show as a switch. If it's a light, it will show as a light. If it's a sensor, it will show as a sensor. One example of switch, you have a light switch. You can leave this one, or you have a relay that will turn on and off depending on what you want. If you have some light that have a dynamo that you want to control the intensity or the color or anything, you can have as a light. If it's a sensor, suppose that you have a temperature sensor or humidity sensor or any kind of sensor that you want to add, it's this part of sensor. In the part of media player will be some device that can play look like Plex. You can integrate with your Plex and that will go for the media player. Or you can have some smart speakers, or you can have Google Assistant, or you can have different kind of smart device. Then the room will be where it will be located. As a template, they have some names, but you can put room 1, room 2. In this case, they say living room, bathroom, kitchen. If you wanted to have 2 bathroom 1 or bedroom 1, bedroom 2, bathroom, or kitchen 1 or living room 1, or depend how big is your house, you can define which room that are. Then will be the type of identity, look like a smart plug. In this case, I have a smart plug behind there that will turn on and off depending what I need, if I press a button or if I program it. If I have a lamp, or if I have a indoor temperature sensor or outdoor temperature sensor, or as I told you, one smart speaker. And then the position. Suppose that you have in your room 2 lamps. You have a left lamp, a right lamp, and a central lamp. You can define left wall, right wall, or center of the house, or front or back. You can define where is the sensor or where is this device. So if you add everything in the same string, will be switch, the location of the switch, smart plug, and the location, position that will be. Basically will be this situation. So have this one in mind. Now we can come back in our home system and start to do the first configuration. First thing, we're gonna set up our account. To set up our account, we need to set up the name. I will put my name as a Sauber-Lab. Once that I put, they will already suggest your user. If you don't want this user, you can change it. Now our password, I'll put password. Don't put password, put a little bit strong password to be sure. And that we can come here and create an account. So now we can define our location. Let's come here and I put my location here. I think that's right, hopefully. Now, what kind of units that I'm using? I'm using the metric one. I don't like the imperial, and in UK they use pretty much the metric, so it's good. Currency, GB, great, and I go for next. Now, if I wanted to submit some report from home system, if I wanted to share my usage or basic analytics, I can select it. But in my case, it will say no, I don't want. And here already appears some dispositive that I have. If I put more, they will appear. I can add more device that I want. This is the preset device that it's only you click and they already directly all your information. But in this case, we're not gonna do it, and we're gonna click as a finish. Later we set up all the device that I want. I say that I want to be logged out, and here appeared my temperature and some small informations that I have. So let's start to do some first configuration. First thing that we're gonna do, we're gonna here in our user, and we activate our advanced mode. This one will be good because you have more functionality, and some of those will be required when you're gonna do the setup. If you wanted to define your language, you can change here, but for us is normal. If you wanted to define as automatic, look like if it's night, they will go for the dark mode. If it's day, it will be the light mode, or you can define that all the time will be dark mode, all the time light mode. Let's leave automatic for now. Okay, we set up this one. Now we can come here in supervision, and we can come here in system. Here in system, I can define my IP address. In my case, the IP address 192.168.1.252. You can change it, but I suggest you to make a static IP. You can define here as a static IP and go in your router and define as a static IP, because if you do all your configuration and then perhaps this IP change, then all your configuration it's loose and it's not good to do it. So let's leave this one and only change for my static IP in my router. If I want to change, I can change here as well my name. Here it's a usage of my Raspberry Pi, so I don't need to worry about it. If I come here in snapshot, I can create a different snapshot. I definitely suggest you to do as much snapshot as you want. It's really easy. You put create snapshot, you can define a name 001, full snapshot, and create. And this snapshot, it's good because if you do some modification, some installation that you didn't like or didn't work well, or perhaps destroy all your configuration previously, you can only come here and restore a snapshot. In this way, you can restore the same state that was before your modification, and this means that it will work well and you will not lose all the job that you did. As well, if you want to move from one device to another one, you can only copy the snapshot and you can run another device, and this means that will restore all your configuration. So it's really good to make a lot of snapshots. Now we're gonna start to install our first ads. Okay, these first ads that we're gonna install, it's for you be able to access externally for your network. So now we're gonna install the Mariana Database, the Docker DNS, and Proxy Manager. Perhaps you already use another Proxy Manager in other device. You don't need to go through this installation, these 3 programs. And if you don't use the Docker DNS, you want to use your own cloud, your own website, you don't need to install the Docker DNS. But in this case, we're gonna install because it's free, the Docker DNS, it's easy. Before we start to do any installation, we need to go for our router and define our port forwarding. To do it, let's open my router. First things, you need to put the port 80 and port 443. In my case, I don't like to leave already the port 8 and port 443 internally, so I always define as a 90 and a 450. If you want to leave 443, feel happy, it's totally fine, but I don't like to do it. So I have defined my port forwarding. I can come here in my home assistant and start to install my first applications. The first one that we're gonna install will be the Docker DNS, and here I will put as an install. I'll wait some minutes until they do the pull for the image and the first installation before we go to the start of the application. Remember, all the ads in the home assistant, they will have the documentation. So it's really important you go through the documentation for you know how to install it proper. It means that first thing they suggest you to visit the dockerdns.org and create your account and create your domains. So we're gonna do it. We open our Docker DNS, we sign with Google, and we already gonna create our account. Have already created your user create. Now we can come here in configuration. Our domain will be user sauber-lab1.dockerdns.org. Here I will put my token and my domain, and will put save. Once that everything is edited the way that you want, you come here info and click start. Now the Docker DNS start. As a best practice, we can put as auto update and watchdog. If you don't want to up the auto update and want to update manually, it's totally fine, but I prefer to leave automatically for me. Then if I forget to not have any problem, I come here in log now. If it appear done, it means that's work. So no problem at all. We can come back here and go for the next application. The next application that we need to do is a Mariana Database. If I come here in Mariana Database, I can place install. Have already the Mariana Database installed, we come here in documentation and read what's important. They say that you need to set up your login and password, the same way that they show here. So we come here in configuration and we set up our password. Will be password, and the user, I can change my user, I will put Sauber-Lab. And the same thing, I will change my user database and I put as a Sauber-Lab. Have this one, I will put as a save and come here in info and start. I can allow the auto update and watchdog as well. Come here in log, and if they appear okay, it means that everything is okay. So great. Now we can come here, and the last application that we're going to install for the external access will be the Proxy Manager. We come here and press install. Having installed the Proxy Manager, we come here in documentation again, and I'm gonna see what's necessary. The first thing that they say that we need to have a database. So the database that we need to have is Mariana Admin. We already installed it, so we come here in configuration and we're gonna change the ports. As I told, I like to leave the port 450 and port 90, and I come here and put save. You can leave 443 and port 8, but I don't like those ports, so I change it. Come here info and start this application. And I come here and watchdog and auto update, the same thing. And I come here and click open web UI. Here in web UI, I need to configure it. If I come here in documentation, they say really clear that my user and my password will be admin at example, and the password will be change me. First time that login, they will ask you for you edit the user. Have already defined our user, we come here and they ask to change your password. Okay, we have installed our Proxy Manager. If you come in the dashboard and proxy host, we can add our first host. We can add a proxy host. We use the same one configured in DocNS, the IP for my machine, and the port that I'm using 8123. I can add here for block common and add socket. I come here in SSL and I click in request, accept for SSL, and I put save. Great, now we have access for our home assistant external for our network. If your router don't allow you to do a port forwarding, you always have other option. You can come here in home assistant and you can install zero tier. This zero tier, it's a VPN option that you can configure to access external for your network and don't need the necessity to configure your port forwarding. They do automatically for you without any configuration. It's only click, install, and it's done. No issue at all. Next application that you're gonna install for manage your script and for manage your applications. If you come here in Visual Studio, this is the next application that you're gonna install. We come here and put install. Have installed the Visual Studio, we come here in documentation, see what we need to do, and absolutely nothing. So we can come here in info, we can activate watchdog, auto update, show bar, and we can start this application. Once that installed, we come here in log and they say, okay, it means that everything's working well. So we can come here in Visual Studio. Here in Visual Studio, you can choose which way that you want. And here we can start to define our application. We can come in automatization, where you can define some triggers, condition, or actions that you want. If you come here in configuration, you can add some device or add some different functionality that you want. If you come here in groups, scenes, where you can record a state of some device or can record an easy way to look like the device on or off, or it's recording or not. And here in scripts, you can do some script as once that arriving home, they turn off the light, or once that arriving home, they start the heating, or once that's the house arriving certain temperature, you start the heater to warm up it, or to cool down it, the air condition, or you want to do anything. It's the part of the script. So the last application that we're going to install today will be Mosquito for beta integration. If you come here in supervision and add a store, we're going to locate the application as Mosquito broken. This Mosquito, it's basically for beta integration. We come here and put install. Once that install, we come here in documentation and see what they want. The first thing that they want us to create a user for this Mosquito. So we're gonna create this user and that we can install our integration. So first thing that we're gonna go, it's come configuration and we go in the part of user and we create a new user. We create user. The user that we're gonna create, it's MMT user. The same user, and password will put test123 and the same thing, test123. Admin writes no, and we click on create. Once that has been created, I will use MMT user. We come here in supervision, come back Mosquito and put start. We can set the same watchdog and auto update. So at the moment, I make the installation for the basic things that you need to know and basic things that you need to have for your home assistant. Next video, we'll start to install some others integration and the rest of the application for a home assistant. Remember, this home assistant, it's a really powerful tool that allows you to do everything that you have in your mind and have integration for basic everything. Then you can allow you integration for most of your smart device. If you like this video and watch it now, I think that it deserves a like. If you don't like this video, put a dislike. Subscribe for the channel and see you next video. Bye.